So extracurricular activities and community involvements. So this is a very significant section that's very important part of your application. Um, it's a very central aspect of your application that shows who you are in a community, who you are outside your classroom, and it really shows like how you communicate with people, how you are how are you um, contributing to your community, to the community you're living, or yeah, through different activities. And so today we are trying to understand how to build that strong portfolio, that strong community engagement portfolio with your activities and the leadership positions that you've been part of, and your personal story at all, like how you really shape yourself, like how you structure your activities and your application in a way that can tell a story about you. And I personally have seen a lot of students struggling with this, and I've been reviewing a lot of application, and people just take this very, I mean, not very seriously, though it's very important and essential aspect of your application. Um, so I mean, what we are going to be talking about today is why it's important, or why this matters, and why our extracurricular, what are the extracurricular activities that you should do or you shouldn't, and types of activities. And we will talk about what makes extracurricular activities strong, and some leadership without a title. We will also talk about tracking and presenting your activities in your application, and writing the descriptions, how to really write description for your activity sections on your Common App. So and also understanding the community involvements, different ways of community involvements, and making your activities more strategic, to the point, and clear, and some common mistakes that you should avoid. And if you don't have any extracurricular activities, what you should do. And case studies. Right now we can do that, and we will also have an interactive activity in the end. And finally, we will have some final takeaways from this session. So yeah, so first, it's important for us to understand why this matters. So why is it important? And I want you to know that this, I mean, like I said before, it's a very central aspect of your application. They want to know not um, not just about your academics, not just who you are inside the classroom, like about your grades, your test scores, your recommendation letters, and but they also know how you have contributed to your community, how you have helped others grow. And how you've been like communicating and contributing to other people's lives. And colleges are really looking for who you are beyond those grades, beyond the papers, the documents you are submitting. And also these activities show your values, and the values that you are contributing to your community, or the group that you are working with, and the initiatives, and also the leadership and character, your character in developing the character that you developed while doing these activities. And for students for like without formal school access, these are very powerful tools. Yeah, these are very powerful tools to show your uniqueness, to show the ways that you think differently than others, and how you really are useful to the people. And they want to see, like I think I mentioned this before too in our previous session, that when you're submitting your application, they're not just looking who you are, like what kind of person you are, but they are also very interested in like what kind of person you will be, and will you be a useful person? Do you have that mentality of helping people and contributing to your community or not? So through these activities, you can really demonstrate that to them, and show that you have that capacity and the mindset. Uh, so to understand extracurricular activities, we have to define it. So the definition, a general definition, would be anything meaningful you do outside the class, formal or informal. So some people think that, oh, you have to do some big thing in order to be considered as a extracurricular activities, but that really that's not really true, but something useful, something that is meaningful to you, something that really helps others, and something in a way that shapes your character. So that's considered an extracurricular activity, and that can be volunteering, that can be family responsibilities, that can be a job or activism, um, and that can be clubs or sports or religious community work that in your high school or beyond. Um, and that can be online projects, tutoring, or you can be working with ASA as a volunteer. You can help other people tutor other students, and help them learn English or help them solve math problems or physics problems, learn like help them code. So these are all like extracurricular activities. So for example, let's say you participate in essay or storytelling competition. We do have an essay competition. It's ASA. It's called ASA essay competition or essay contest. You can be part of that. You can be like research projects, so writing blog articles. You can, yeah, I mean, some people are really interested in research. You can do a research on your own on the subject that you're really interested in. And this research, just to tell you, is that it's a really big thing. If you really want to stand out, I mean, research is something that really shows your interest in the subject, in the field of the study. So yeah, you can do a research project, and you can tutor younger like students to learn English, like I said, math or science, and as simple as you can help your neighbors access, let's say, mobile banking or online service. This is a little hard right now in Afghanistan, but it can be possible in some cases. You can also translate important documents or forums for elders, and you can do volunteering with NGOs or student groups. Like I said, you can work with ASA or other nonprofit organizations, uh, and you can write. Writing is the best way to show that you are someone who thinks, someone who is willing to solve problems, and who's kind of intellectual, right? And yeah, I mean, you have some kind of intellectual curiosity. And yeah, write poetry, essays, or short stories. And it doesn't have to be really impressive. It doesn't have to be really like something really big, but you can write like about whatever you're interested in. You can write the in a level that you can carry out. So it doesn't really have to be something really impressive, really good. Yeah. And yeah, and also you can learn to code and build a basic project. um, Python is a programming language which is really easy, and if you can learn that, you can build a project. And there are a lot of AI tools that can teach you how to code. Yeah, so if you're interested in computer science, that will be a very cool project for you, and that will be a very that's another layer of um, uh, a layer of qualification on your application. So yeah, that really helps. And yeah, so these are all like activities that can help you stand out, that can help you like get an idea of like what to do and what you're interested in. Um, yeah, so types of activities, the different types of activities are, so there are like several types that you can do while you're in high school that can really help you stand out. Um, so here we just group them by academic and intellectual. It can be like Olympiads and tutoring and research. These are academics. And Olympiad, I don't think we have Olympiad back home, um, but in 2021 there was, but it was more of an English. And so yeah, I participated in that. Yeah, but you can do research, like I said before. Research is really cool. It takes time. It takes like good skills. If you do really good research, if you want to do a good research, you need to learn some skills like R. You need to do some data analysis, and you need to learn how to collect data and use this data for your research. And you need to know how to write a research paper. Yeah. So yeah, and but that would be really, really good factor for your application to add up. And we have community service. It can be volunteering, fundraising, and some kind of awareness. Yeah, I mean, a lot of students do these things like community service, like volunteering. They can also be really a good addition to your application to show that you're a very worldly person, who you're very community oriented, who is willing to help other people. Yeah, and that's really helpful too. In leadership, like you can start a club, organize events, you can manage teams. So one thing I should mention here, that like when you start a club, let's say when you start an organization, or you want to start a community of people to do something, to make an impact, let's say, look more for the impact, look more for like how impactful that is in your community. um, do not look for the name or for like how cool it is to have that on your application, but see how impactful that is, like how many people have been impacted by your work or by your initiative. See how many lives you have changed, let's say. And that can itself be a really good story for you, right? So I helped this person or this family or this community and really impacted me as a person. And that way I learned about myself a lot. I learned who I am. I learned what I like, what I don't like. And your, let's say, your personal statement when you write your essays or your supplemental essays, they do not really have to be about sad stories about your life, about, oh, this is really hard and I went through all these problems and challenges. It can be about your activity. Like say, I went to this community. I started this organization and I helped, let's say, 25 people who did not have access to internet, and I organized a fundraising campaign, and we helped them get access to get access to internet, and then they helped their children to with let's say they help them to get online education for free. And that's really, like, let's say, that really helped me understand who I am as a person, and how am I sympathetic, am I a good leader, am I a person who is like community oriented. And see how you feel about that. And that's really cool, because when you submit your application, it's not about you. You do not put yourself like as a spotlight, but you are trying to make it about others. It's about other people. It's not about me. So you see, that's the beauty of it. So try not to make it centered around you, but around other people. So that really shows about like what kind of person you are, right? When I'm saying, like, when we talk about person statements, let's say, we always say, write your person statement should show that who you are as a person. So this is what we mean by who you are as a person. It doesn't mean like what's your name, where do you live, or where have you been traveling, or where have you been before. So it's not about like those things. It's about like you, who you are as a person in a community, you are as a human, and how do you see yourself, right? So these activities really help you like understand yourself better. So that's a big thing about it. It's not about like how big it is. It's not about like, oh, it's like how many followers you have on LinkedIn, how many followers you have on Instagram. It's not about that. It is absolutely not about that. And yeah, you can also do some creative work. It's like it can be an art and can be a music, or if you're interested about art or about writing, creative writing, you can write stories. Yeah, and it can be entrepreneurship. It can be small business or freelancing. In us, again, make it about people. And I'm I don't think anybody will mention this, but make it about others. Make it about like how other people will benefit from that. And not about you. Do not make it about yourself only. And it can be a family responsibility. It can be a cultural thing. So you can be, you can say, yeah, you've been taking care of your little sister, and yeah, and you help them grow. Like how that really help, how that contributed to your own self growth. You see, small things, very niche. Uh, it can really help you stand out. Okay, it's not about like how big, how like your story is long, how impressive it is. No, I mean the small, the very specific, very niche it is, the better. Okay, so yeah, and these all types of activities can really help you stand out, and your job is to think about how you can do all these and pick one. Okay, I am telling you, do not do 1,000 things at a time, and that really does not help you at all. Okay, uh, that does not help you, uh, and it doesn't show your interest if you do 100 things at a time. It does not show your interest. It shows that you are focused on one thing, and one thing that you are really passionate about. Yeah, if you show your passion through your activities, that's when they're gonna be hooked up on your application. Um, and yeah, I hope that really helps. And yeah, so for my experience, I just mentioned about passion. For my experience, I really loved volleyball. I've been playing volleyball since I was 10. So I started playing volleyball, and I was playing volleyball with like big guys when I was little, and I was getting ball on my head, and then people were hitting on me, and they were always making fun of me. And so that really, like, I like that challenge, and I started playing, and like older players. And then in our school, in middle school, I continued playing with them. In our high school, I became the captain for my high school volleyball team. And um, and then I really had a lot of success leading that team. And then we could secure one championship in our school, and we brought a lot of medals to our school. And also, and then when I after high school, I joined our national team, U20. It's called U20, uh, volleyball national team, and that really helped. That showed, like, I talked about like my experience as someone who like kind of grew up like with that passion. And then I joined the national team, and then I had medal, and I met a lot of people. I did not talk about like, oh, I was very impressive, I was really good player, I had this medal, and I won this championship. And I more talked about like how I grew through this experience, like what kind of people I meet, and how they helped me grow into a better person, and and to see from a different lens. Okay, do not, again, do not um, do not center it around yourself. Do not center around you only, but try to like how other people are impacted, and how you are impacted by other people, and how they contributed toward your like growth, personal growth. Yeah. Yeah, and we talked a lot about that. So yeah, so what makes an activity really strong? Okay, so we talked about like all about like how it's how you can make it more effective for yourself. Um, so what makes an activity really strong is the consistency first. So a consistency is really good. I see some people start volunteering or like starting a project, and they give up on that, and they do not have the consistency to continue. They do not like consistently grow with that. And yeah, so look for like long-term involvement with that. When you have a long-term involvement, especially like years of involvement with one thing, and that really shows your passion. It's something you're passionate about. If you are doing something you're not passionate, you, of course, you will give in, you will give up on that. And that's really obvious on your application when you submit it, and see that if you've been jumping to different things, and that's not really effective. Okay, so look, like, do something consistently for a long time, and with passion, and I am 100% sure that it will be really, really impactful on your application. And some people and some students, I see they make a mistake while they list their activities on their application. They list like 100 activities at a time, and they just, yeah, they mention everything, like everything they've been doing for a short period of time, but they don't really show that passion, the passion for one thing that they have done, and and see themselves like doing that for the rest of their life, for example. And if you do that, if you show that consistency, if you show that you've been doing something for a very long time, and then you are really caring about that, that's something that they look for. Okay, they don't look for the quantity. They don't look for like how many uh, activities you have, but they look for like how many of them you are really passionate about, how many of them like you've been doing for a long time. Yeah. And the depth, also the depth is also very important. Like I talked about this before, like how you grew up through that, the experiences you had, and how other people contributed to your growth, and how you helped them grow. And that's the depth, that's the amount of responsibility you take for yourself and for others. And the initiative, did you start or create something? um, if you start doing something, like if you start a community, if you start a club in your high school, or if you start an organization, see, like that's also very effective for your application, but it should still have depth. It should also have a consistency, and see if their impact, how many people have been impacted by that. That's also really a critical point that um, you should watch for. And yeah, so finally, the most important thing is that the impact. The impact is really, really important. And how did your activity help other people? And also how that experience helped you grow as a person, and how that contributed to your self personality growth. Yeah, and and as a note, I just put it here: strong extracurricular curricular activity is not defined by its quantity, but by the amount of time and effort you put into making it such impactful and deep. Yeah. So, yeah. And yeah. So the leadership without a title. Um, so, I mean, sometimes we think we think like if you have a higher position in an organization, um, that is really important, or it is important for some people, I know. But leadership is about influence and impact. It's not about really the position or the title you hold in that organization, or in that initiative, or that community. See how you really helped or contributed to that community, rather than having a very like a, a very fancy title, right? um, and yeah, see how like sometimes people do have really like fancy titles, but they do not really, they're not very impactful. They're not really useful, in that community. But look more for the impact. Again, we come back to that impact. For example, like teaching siblings during school bands, right? You can do this, and you can teach your siblings, and you can organize a neighborhood English circle. That will be really cool. And launching a podcast or blog about education. So that will like, yeah, that's really like, these are all cool. You see, so it doesn't give you a fancy title. It doesn't say, oh, executive, or it doesn't give you like a CEO title, or the president, or the founder. Um, but it's really impactful. It's something that it shows you are community oriented. You are very caring about people. You're caring about your own self growth. Yeah. And yeah, so think about this, like think about like how you can do one of these, and how that can be impactful and um in other people's lives. Yeah. So, and then how to track and present your activities. So, yeah, we have a lot of tools like Google Sheets and Google Docs or Notion. Notion is a very powerful tool that you can like list your activities, and you can do like you can include activity name, the role, the title, and the dates involved, like the days you started and the hours, and the hours per week that you are, because on Common App it asks you how many hours per week you spend on an activity. um, yeah, and keep a track of the hours, and also the responsibilities, yeah, what you have done and what you are really doing, and the achievements, what some that's quantifiable achievements, and something that can be measured, uh, and what those are really important, like to keep track of, because they will be asked from you, especially when you are filling out your Common App application. So yeah, just a quick note here that you really need these things to keep track of. And yeah, so how to write and how to describe your activity, especially on the Common App application, it asks you how, like, it asks you to list your activities. I think the limit is 10 activities. You can list up to 10 activities. Yeah, you should choose only the most impactful ones. Okay, so you do not really have. So look, if you can list eight of most impactful ones, and that's cool. I mean, you do not really have to list all of them, and do not have to like fill all those spots, the 10. But if you do, that would be cool. But I am telling that you should only focus on the ones that were really impactful. So you start with the most impactful, the biggest one on top, and then go like you give a hierarchy of importance to them. So yeah, and yeah, so the format or the way that you describe should be the action verb and what you did and what or who benefited from your activity plus the results. So it should be in one sentence, very concise, very accurate, and very descriptive of your activity. For example, you organized weekly virtual English sessions for 20 girls banned from school in Afghanistan and improved their speaking skills from B1 to B2 level. So this is a very good description of like your activity, very concise, very short, and it shows like what you did and what you achieved and how you did it, right? So, and who benefited from this activity. 20 girls who were banned from school, and they improved their English speaking skills from B2 level to from B1 level to B2 level. So you see, that's not really a fancy title. That's not something that that's not a huge thing, but that's a very impactful, that's a very meaningful action. So yeah, I hope this really helps you to get an idea of how you describe your activity on your application. Yeah. And yeah, so making your activities more strategic, like how to be more strategic with your activities. First of all, like align them with your academic and career goals. I think sometimes it's really important to like kind of show that you have done something and you want to do that in the future too, but you need more skills and you need more education to do that, and then understand. And colleges understand, oh yeah, if you come here, you are really a passionate person and you will be a very um, valuable contribution to our community. So why not? I mean, try to align that with your career and academic goals. That will be really powerful. And show progression or growth. Show that you are growing, you're not stuck at one point. Show that you've been doing things starting from small, and then you got better, 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 and you grew through that. And also demonstrate some social responsibilities. so that you are a responsible person, you are taking initiative, you are very proactive. Show some willingness, okay? And pay attention to how you describe them, okay? Some people are, like some students are really like not paying attention to how they are presenting them, but it's really important how you sometimes you may have something really cool that you don't know, but if you pay attention how you present them, trust me, they can be really impactful. Okay, they can be really uh, um, they can be really powerful in your application. And yeah, so measure the impact of your work and what you've learned. Like I said before, it's really important that you emphasize on the things that you learn from that activity. Okay, and uh, and the things that you learned and you grew through that. And it's not that you have done something. Okay, okay, I've done this and that's it, I've done this. But it's okay that you have done that, but what you learned uh, is something that really matters. Okay, and how you grew out of that, and what kind of person you will be after that, right? Or if you have done something and you are still the same person as you were, and that's not really helpful, right? um, and how did your work make you a better person, like I said, and how do you measure personal growth through this work? And these 2 points are really important, and you should show that with your description of the activity on your application. And yeah, so some common mistakes that you should avoid are like listing too many shallow activities, like too many small, very like small activities that really don't matter if you don't even mention, and copying someone else's ideas. Yeah, the more niche, the more unique you are in listing activities and the whole or the entire application, the better chance you have to get in, trust me. And yeah, so show that you're unique, not copy someone else's ideas. And yeah, so not showing initiative or reflection. If you do not think about what you have done and how you grew out of that, that's not impactful. That's not going to help you. But think about it, reflect on it, like how you grow, how you contribute to other people's lives, and how do you really think about that, so how you reflect on that. So be more reflective on that. And underestimating informal contribution, yeah, so like I said, it doesn't have to be really big, but it can be informal, but it should be meaningful and impactful. So do not underestimate them. And so not sharing the outcomes of your work and personal and social, yeah, so the outcome, what you have achieved, personal growth, and how that really helped other people, how that helped you. These are all the outcomes. And you must show that. You must and present that to them. And boasting too much about the outcome of the work, yeah, I've seen this before, but be be realistic with that. Be really honest with yourself and with them. It doesn't really have to be big. It doesn't have to have a very big impact, a very impressive outcome, but it needs to be something meaningful to you and meaningful to them, and something realistic. And not making it personal. Why does work matter to you? If you do something, that should matter to you, right? If you do something, you don't do something that you don't like. You don't do something that's just meaningless to you. So it should have a personal connection to you. So try to make it resonate with your own self, with your personal story, with yourself, the way that the person you are. So yeah, make it personal. And yeah, so these are all the common mistakes that you need to avoid while describing your activities. And and one of the challenges that I have seen in students, especially those who are working with ASA, is that they do not have any extracurricular activities yet, and they are worried about that. So if you do not have any activities yet on your resume or on your application, start small. Okay, so like I said, teach a neighbor or teach your sibling, or lead a community, or join a group of people, like join a community, join an organization. Just start small and see what you learn from them, and be more proactive. Okay, So be like, reach out to people and talk to them like respectfully, send a good email to people asking for help. Ask that ask if they have an opportunity for you. Okay. And unfortunately, some students who are reaching out to ASA, they don't even know how to write their emails. And I have seen people sending a text on Instagram saying, "Hey, uh, can I work in your organization?" And that, of course, we're not going to respond to that. Okay. And or some people just send an email. I have seen your organization, I have seen your website, and I like to work with you. So of course we're not gonna respond to that, because, and how am I gonna know about who you are? What are your qualifications? What are you trying to do? Or why do you need this? Okay, so yeah, be proactive. Ask people if you don't have any activities. Like, reach out to people. And of course, there are people, and 100% sure there are people who are able to help you and join an online course or a tutor others, or yeah. So before I starting something, you just think, what do I care about? Like, and how can I act on that? Okay, so I can act on something that I really care about. And yeah, seek volunteer positions at NGOs, or and think about what would represent you as a person in your community and your future goals, and act on that specifically. So in that, if you do that, it really resonates with your personal goals, I mean, you as a person. And yeah, and do more. And the more you reach out to people, the more you think about these things, the more you can like reflect on yourself, the better it is, and the higher chance you have um, to do something meaningful. And yeah, so these are all the most important things that I wanted to talk about. Um, so before I move on, do you have any questions? We have two questions. Okay, Muslima.
Hello, everyone. So my question is that I am volunteering in an organization, so it's about leadership. And do I need to focus on some other volunteering jobs, or should I continue this one? Wondering to be volunteer in one job or have more activities. What is your feedback on that?
Oh yeah, that's really cool. I mean, that you are doing a volunteer job, and if that really shows who you are, like what you care about, if you have been doing that for a long time, that's very good idea to stick with that and do that, and see how you can present yourself through that, right? And how many people you have been impacting, and how many people really benefited from your work. Yeah, I mean, you should definitely stick with that, and use that to your benefit, and show that um, you are a person who's caring, and the impact and the mission of that organization really matters, that what they are trying to promote, and how that really resonates with you, with as a person. So yeah, I mean, definitely that's a very good thing. And besides that, if you want to do something that you care about, I mean, start doing something else as well, like something that you care about, right? A project, or another organization, or a group of people, or a community. Yeah, I mean, always. I'm not saying the more is the better, but more impactful is better. But if you're doing something that it really you care about, that you are passionate about, the more is better in that case. So because you are really involved with something that you really enjoy, right? Some people do things that they don't like, and that they are not passionate about. If you are passionate about something, and you keep doing, that's something that really makes you stand out. Yeah. And yeah, so Michael, so
Okay, thank you. So actually, I wanted to know if I can mention one of my extracurricular activities that I don't have proof. I mean, like I did that activity almost 5 to 6 years ago, and I don't have any proof, like any picture, any certificate, or anything. Should I mention that or not?
Yeah. Like, so thank you for bringing that up. So this is a very I don't know why, like, I've seen a lot of students looking for like fancy certificates or documents. People don't really care about certificates. They don't even ask. And university and all the schools I applied, I mean, I applied to 13 schools. None of them asked for my certificates. None of them said, hey, you mentioned that you work in here. Can I see a proof? Can I see a document? None of them asked for a for for a document or for a proof or for an organization. Please do not look for any certificate. Do not think that you should not mention an activity because you don't have a certificate. A certificate is just a piece of, nobody cares about, like, if you have a certificate from an organization that they have no idea what that organization is. And unfortunately, I've seen a lot of students like keeping themselves back, I mean holding themselves back just because they don't have a certificate. And I've been like, first time I like when we started ASA, and we were getting application for volunteering, and a lot of these I mean volunteers, I mean they were trying to work with us, and they were mentioning in their application, do you guys give us a certificate when we do volunteer work? And that's not really that's not a really good thing. I mean, just a certificate does not um, add anything extra on your application, and they don't even ask. There's no place you can submit, so what are you doing with that? So yeah, absolutely not. And do not think that that can like stop you from listing that activity on your application. Definitely list it and see like how impactful you've been there in that organization, and that should be really sufficient. Um, I mean, you said then how we can prove them. You don't have to prove them. They are not asking for proof, and it is very obvious on your app. It is very obvious on your essays that you have done something, and then if you haven't done anything, that's very obvious that if you are talking about something you have never done, you don't have the skill to talk about that. You don't even have the knowledge to talk about that, and that's really obvious. And that, yeah, people are way smarter than we think, you know. Um, and you don't have to prove anything. You just say, hey, I have done this and it's been very, very impactful on me. It's very yeah, and they're not asking, hey, can I see your certificate? Or yeah, there's no place to upload your certificates. And I've never seen any application platform that asks you like, hey, like upload your certificates here. No. And okay, so we have one more question. Oh, two more questions, three more questions. Hamida Haidari first. Hamida, okay.
Hello, teacher. So I'm actually involved in an organization. I work as a volunteer, but my volunteer work is not somehow related to my major, to the major I want to study. For example, I want to study economics, but the volunteer work we are doing is related about to.
Sorry, I couldn't catch your
Sociology
question.
and case management. Then would it be important to include this extracurricular?
Sorry, I couldn't catch your question, but what you mean is, but what I assume that you're telling me, what are you trying to tell me is that what you're what you are hoping to study in school is economics, but what you are doing right now is not something related to economics. That doesn't matter as long as it's really important to you. Is that something that you care about? Is that something that is very impactful? Is that something that help other people? I mean, that's what matters. Okay, so a lot of people come to college or come to school. They have no idea what they want to study. I mean, I decided on my major on second year. of my on school. And you have some people, they decide their major in third year school, so you don't really have to worry about that. And look more for like how impactful that is, how meaningful that is to you, into what you are doing right now. Are you passionate about that, or is that really like meaningful? Do you have that fulfillment while you are doing that? So that's important. Yeah. And so another question is from Mahmouda Ahmadi. Okay, Mahmouda doesn't hear me. Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I was as a volunteer in an organization as well, and I was as a like a mentor. So our program was just for a short time, and it took about 3 months, but it wasn't too long. So my question is that is it better to mention for our application, or should I participate in other extracurricular activities as well?
Okay, so I guess I'm repeating myself, but again, I want to say, look at if that's really meaningful to you. If you have done something that you are caring about and you have done it and you're very proud of, and that's important, okay? And see in that period of time, okay, I've done this project and we traveled there and we helped this many people in 3 months, and this was really impactful for in their life, and this really helping them. So yeah, and see again if that's really something that you care about deeply personally. Yeah, of course, list it on your application and describe it the way that we just talked, and the structure the way that I just showed you. And yeah, and that should be good. Yeah, so one more question, Shakila.
Yeah, we know that there are some organizations such as AFS or Celia, and in your area, if you be active as a mentor or facilitator in these programs, and do you think that it will have a great impact on our profile, and we can consider them as a powerful extracurricular activity?
Okay, so and again, I'm repeating myself, is when you do something, an activity, it has no impact first. I mean, it's meaningless to the college, right? To the college that you are applying, unless you are giving a meaning to it, right? So you should think about like how impactful that is on yourself and on others, what you learn from that and what you contributed to the lives of other people. Okay, you give meaning to it. Okay, so this is meaningless to other people. Okay, so people don't care what you do, honestly, but you give meaning to it. You say, hey, I did this and I learned this from it and I grew out of it, and then I helped this many people who also grew with me. Okay, so you give meaning to it, you give impact to it. Either it will be an impactful, or it will be good or not for your application, is totally up to you. So yeah, and see how impactful, how useful that was to you and that was to other people. I hope that
Okay,
helps.
thank you.
And so for the activity, we do not have time for the activity, but it will be your assignment. So your assignment will be to write down 3 things you have done in the past year. However, I changed that to past 3 years. Okay, in the past 3 years, you have done 3 things, and I think so. By 3 things, we mean like 3 activities, right? But you can list as many activities as you have done, and then identify those. Either they count as a leadership or community service or personal initiative or a volunteer work at an NGO. So list them, and then so when you list them and then categorize them, which category they fall into, and then choose 1 and 2 sentences. Yeah, so choose. You should write 1 sentence description for each of them, like how you describe on Common App. Okay, so one sentence description with the structure that we talked about. And the structure was here. Yeah, the action verb, what you did, who and what benefited, and the result. So you write this kind of sentence description for each of your activity, and then send your activity to us, to the email contact at Afghan Scholars Academy. Okay, so that is your assignment for your next until your next session. Our next session will be in 2 weeks. And the date, I'm not sure yet. I didn't receive the date yet, but I will let you know about the date on our announcement channel. So the deadline will be the next session. So in the final takeaways and some resources, okay. So your story is built outside the classroom. It's not about your classroom always. It's not about GPA. It's not always about GPA. It's not about your grades. It's not about your test scores, but it's about like what you have done outside the classroom. And every student has something valuable to share. Like I said before, you have something to say. You have something to share. You have something that you have contributed to your community, and you have something that you learn from that. Okay, so think about it and start now, and also track your activity, track your impact, and then reflect on your work. Be more reflective. Like think about it and write about it. And the tools that you can use, Google Sheet trackers. Also, you can use us like ASA peer mentors, and also sample action verbs. Like I may share some sample action verbs with you soon on our resources channel. So look for that. I may share that soon. And think about like doing something impactful, though small. Like I said before, like some impactful work that you have done. And yeah, do it now. Do it now, and do not wait for any perfect time, or do not. Yeah, so just do it now. Yeah, that's what I want to tell you as the last piece. And yeah, I want to say thank you for this session. This is the email that you're gonna be submitting your assignment. The contact at afghanscholaracademy.org. Some people use the admin email, admin at Afghan Scholars Academy. That's also not bad. Yeah, but I would prefer contact at afghanscholaracademy.org. Yeah, so this was our today's session. I hope that you learned. Please. So what is my request from you is that you please pay attention, like close attention to what we discussed, because these are all important. These are very important details, very important and detailed instructions on what you do. If you do not pay attention to this, you get lost. Okay, so that is the purpose of this program, these sessions, that we come here, we give the time and we give the energy to come here and to instruct you how to properly position yourself for the better position, like for the better qualification for your school. Okay, so you do not just do random things. Okay? Do not wait for certificate, or do not like describe your activity just random way. Okay, do not do that. So these are all the instructions that you need to follow in order to be successful with your extracurricular activities and beyond, that we will be discussing in the next sessions. And we have one more question on the chat, and that is, could you please share your opinion about using AI tools for writing? I mean, if we want English to be perfect and error-free, or even a little bit of help with AI, no. I mean, that's not, I mean, AI, please, do not use AI on your application, never. And I don't know, yeah, do not use AI for your application, never. I mean, do not write anything and do not copy anything from AI tools and paste it on your application. And if you wanna be competitive, okay, if you don't want to be competitive, if you just want to do something that can just, yeah, and pass it on, yeah, use AI tools. There are a lot of AI detectors that can detect if you use the AI or not. So do not never use AI for anything, for anything on your application. And you said if English to be perfect, there's no perfect English, and there's no error-free English. We all make mistakes. And that's the beauty of it, I guess. So you have to make mistakes. You have to be like a human. Okay, humans, we as humans make mistakes, and we all have mistakes. But it depends, like how many mistakes you keep repeating. Okay, so you don't want to keep repeating your same mistakes, but you learn from them. We as humans, so that's what makes us human. And do not use AI tools. And I think we mentioned this for applications for everywhere. I mean, that AI tools will automatically disqualify you for everything from like college applications. And even for this program, we while we were reviewing the applications, we saw that a lot of students, like an astonishing number of students, are using AI tools for their essay responses, and then just the system um, automatically disqualifying them from getting admitted. So never use AI tools. And I'm just telling you that even for listening activities, do not because AI doesn't know about you, doesn't know about what you have done, doesn't know about what you learned, and AI doesn't know about what you are trying to do, yeah. So be careful about that. And yeah, I hope that helps. And that AI is very serious. Okay, it's very, very serious. It might gives you a feeling of accomplishment for a very short time, that oh, you have done something, but in fact you have not done something. You didn't go forward, you pushed yourself back a little bit. Okay, so it's a very critical thing when you come to college. Okay, especially if you come to US, it's called academic dishonesty. And then if you do once, they will put you on academic dishonesty. And if you repeat that the second time, they will um, they will uh, they will report you to the student disciplinary something, and they will expel you from college. So that's very serious. Yeah, use AI for brainstorming, use AI for like organizing your tasks, use AI for like coming up with ideas, with like consulting. You talk to AI about like different stuff that you need consulting about, like answering questions that you don't know, but not for writing, not for like solving problems. At the end of the day, you have to think. Okay, so AI should not replace you. It replaces your thinking ability. Okay, so you should be able to think, and you should be able to make decisions, and you should be able to write things in your own words, in your human voice. And yeah, and it's very easy to identify if something is written by AI or by a human. It's very, very easy. In the first sentence, you can tell everything. And so yeah, and that's my take on AI. That's my opinion. And you don't have to be perfect. And there's no perfect English. There's no error-free English. Even Americans, they make a lot of mistakes every time they talk. They make a lot of mistakes. And yeah, please do not try to be perfect. And that can hold you back for a very long time.